Today, I wanted to talk about I have noticed that I have been taking shit just too seriously recently. I've been taking life too seriously. I have been stressing a stupid amount about stupid things. And it just got me thinking the other day about how inherently silly life is, right? We're all on this fucking planet just bumbling about. Well, we don't even no one really knows what we're doing here, why we're here, how long we're here, what's going on. We're all just kind of getting by, entertaining ourselves. It's just like a weird fucking thing, isn't it? Life, it's just inherently kind of silly. And the fact that, and I'm aware there's a lot of stressful things in the world. I'm very, very fucking lucky and privileged to to have the life that I have. But I don't know. I've just been thinking recently how easy it is to really take everything so seriously and so deeply. And, you know, I don't know. The other day I was thinking about it and I was like, I think it's so easy to get sucked into taking everything very, very seriously and forgetting that we're on a floating rock in the middle of fucking nowhere. No one knows what's going on. And also the fact that we know that it's gonna end. We know that we're all gonna die, right? And I don't mean this to be like a really weirdly morbid episode. If anything, it's like meant to be positive. But the fact that we all know our life is temporary. It's all gonna end. The world is gonna end at some point. Like, we don't fucking know what's going on. But we do know that our lives are fairly short. And you'd think with that information, we would take everything with a bit more of a grain of salt. However, life is short, but it's also long. It's obviously, it makes sense that we have to take some stuff seriously because, you know, you can't just fuck about with your life forever. Like, obviously, I understand that there's shit that you have to take seriously and plan, and you have to save, and you have to be responsible and shit. And I understand that. But I think it's more so the other day I was lying on the beach. It was a really nice day. I was lying on this beach, completely empty. This beach was fully empty. And I had just been swimming in the sea, and I was lying there reading my book and just loving life. I wasn't. This is the point of the story. I was not loving life. I was feeling guilty. I was feeling guilty because I was like, I feel like I'm 22 now. And I was like, I'm just in the middle of the day on a Thursday lying on the beach. I'm not working. I'm not working towards anything right now. I'm not being productive right now. There's this level of guilt when you chill out or relax or God forbid you enjoy your life where you feel like I shouldn't be doing this, especially when I'm so young and this is the time to work out what I want to do, where I want to go, to be planning and being productive and shit. And I was lying there feeling like this is nice, but I almost can't enjoy it because I feel lazy and guilty almost for lying on this beach in the middle of the day. And everyone around me is working and doing shit. And I'm just lying here reading my book, basking in the sun, doing fuck all. And I think it just got me thinking why do I feel bad for that when we're on a floating rock? Life is short. We're all going to die, right? You should enjoy your life. You should live your life in a way that you enjoy. And if that is being really productive and, working really hard and you love that and that's what you want to do, then that's fine. Obviously, do what you want. But also, if you want to do anything with your life, you should live it how you enjoy it, is my point. You should live your life in a way that you find fun and that you enjoy. And to me right now, I've talked about this before on the podcast, but like I said, I'm 22 and I don't really know what I'm doing with my life. And I kind of just work fairly part-time and enjoy my life outside of it, and I'm just not really sure what the fuck is going on. I'll be honest. And but I'm other than the guilt, I'm enjoying my life. Like, my lifestyle, I love it. I love the fact that I go swimming in the sea and I read my books, and I love cooking, and I love going to yoga, and I fucking love my life. I have a really good life. And there's almost this guilt always that's just fucking ruining it. That's but you need to do more, and you need to sort out what you're doing with your life, and you need to do this and that. And it's just I don't know. I was just having this moment of it's not that fucking deep. I don't know. I think so often we feel so guilty for doing what we want with our lives, doing what we enjoy, because it seems lazy. And this world is so fucking obsessed with being productive, and like everything is so corporate and work oriented. And like, the world is not set up in a way for people to really relax and do what they want with their lives. It's very like pushing you in the direction of working all the time. So it's hard, but I think we so often feel bad for just doing what we like with our lives. And I think sometimes we should just take the pressure off of ourselves to know what we're doing and to do certain things that are like deemed as productive and worthwhile. Like, just do what you fucking want with your life. Do you know what I mean? As long as you can like look after yourself and you're a good person and like, and stuff like that, then like by all means, why not just do what you enjoy and do what you like with your time? Do you know what I mean? Like, and take the pressure off, because I think especially with young people there's so much fucking pressure from like when you're in school. It's like, I remember my first day when I'd finished school and I went to college. My first day of college, literally the first day, was like an open day to universities to like plan out what university you want to go to, when I'd not even fucking started a single class at college yet. It was already like, we need to be thinking about what we're doing in 4 years and what university you're going to be going to in the future. And it's just like, I think everything is so set up from such a young age to plan and to know what you're wanting to do. And there's so much pressure. And it's no wonder that we feel bad for veering away from academia and shit like that. And like, even if you are studying so hard and spending so much time, like getting a degree or something, I guarantee you still feel like you're not doing enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not your fault that you're feeling like that. The world just is set up in a fucking stupid way, Do you know what I mean? And like, I just think from such a young age, like I said, you're told to be thinking about the next step and the next step and the next step. And jokes on them, because I didn't even like finish college because of COVID. So like, this is a prime example of like, you can plan all you want, but you can't control what's going to happen anyway. So why deep it? Do you know what I mean? Obviously it's nice to have some sort of a plan, but like, you really can't control and plan anything in life because like, we're on a floating rock and nothing makes sense, and we're all just like, I don't know. Sometimes I think it helps me to remember how inherently silly life is, and how like everyone deeps everything, and everything is made out to be so serious. And it's like, if you don't know what university you're going to, then it's like the worst thing in the world, and like your life is going to go to shit, and like you have 4 weeks to work it out, and it's like, what the fuck you want about? Do you know what I mean? Like, things like that do not need to be that deep. There's obviously things in the world that are important and are deep, but like, I think sometimes things that aren't that deep are made out to be really deep, and they just stress everyone out, and everyone is just so stressed. Do you know what I mean? Everyone is so stressed all the time, and it's no one's fault if you feel anxious all the time either. Like, if you struggle with anxiety, no wonder like the world is like breeding anxiety. I just think sometimes it helps to sit back and just be like, is it that deep? Like, what's really going to happen? Because even if you knew what you wanted to do with your life, like, you have no idea what's going to happen. And I don't mean this to be morbid, but like, you could die. Like, and you will. We all will. Hence why, if anything, I think that's more of a waste of time, massively, than it would be to just put your time and energy into doing something that you're going to enjoy and have a nice time with and enjoy your life with. And if that is just lying on the beach and reading a book here and there throughout the week when you can, or it's just going on a walk, or it's like using every single holiday day that you have from your work to go and travel, even though maybe half the people at your job think that's irresponsible and that's like unprofessional, and like, not everyone actually, even though there's like holiday to take and like sick days to take and stuff, it's like, oh, you shouldn't really actually fucking use all of them. Fuck it. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's bad advice. I don't think that's bad advice. Like, fuck it. Life is short. And I think you should enjoy it and not feel bad for doing that. I don't know. I think everything is made to be so serious all the time, and like, I think we need to let ourselves like breathe a little bit sometimes, and like not be in such a hurry, and just like let ourselves enjoy our lives a bit more. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have one life, and as much as life is long and it feels long, like, I can't believe I'm still 22. I feel like I've been alive for ages, but like I've been alive for 22 years. I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, life is long, but it's short, and you don't know how long you have either. Like, even if you lived a full length life, it's still like a tiny little blip of time in the scheme of things. Do you know what I mean? And like, that's why I just think it's so silly when we say we spend a day relaxing or doing something that we like, that's kind of like switching off. Like, maybe you go for a walk, maybe you have a glass of wine at lunch, maybe you have a bath, do a pamper night, bake a cake, whatever the fuck you like doing. Maybe it's gaming, maybe it's playing football, maybe it's doing your hair and your makeup. Fuck knows, like literally anything. Maybe it's just sitting outside in the sun, reading, having a drink. I don't know, like anything that you're just like, this is a nice thing to do and I like doing it. By the end of that day, like, a lot of people would feel like that's a day wasted. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of us struggle with that kind of just consistent guilt that does not need to be there. Where, like, if you haven't done something quote unquote productive, then it's kind of a waste of time. Like, it's really indulgent of you to actually spend a day doing something you want. And that's really like, you really pushed the boat out and treated yourself too much. The next day, you know what? Actually, the next week, you're going to have to work overtime and extra hard just because you let yourself do what you want for one day. Like, that is genuinely the way that the world's set up, though. Like, it's really odd. Like, it's just not, it's not celebrated or pushed to like, in a lot of places and in a lot of workplaces, a lot of jobs, it's not really celebrated to like, you know, have like a proper work-life balance or like enjoy yourself. I don't know. It's like I said, no wonder we feel bad for that, because like your work, I've worked in places before where it's just like they make you feel so guilty if you're like ill for a day even. Do you know what I mean? It's just not that fucking deep. Like, I understand if you own like a business or something, like it is stressful and it is deep if like people aren't in or people keep calling in sick or whatever. Like, I'm not discrediting that. I just mean like, I think all of us would benefit from taking a deep breath sometimes and being like, life is so silly. It's so silly. Like, we all need to take everything with a bit more grain of salt when it comes to shit like this. Like, I'm not talking about shit that's actually really deep and important and like horrible. I'm not talking about that. I just mean general day to day. We all have our shoulders tense and like our jaws clenched, and we're always thinking there's more we could have done, and we shouldn't have let loose, and we shouldn't have done this, and we could have, if we hadn't gone and seen our friend that evening, we would have been so much further ahead with this thing. And there's just nothing's ever enough, and like, oh my god, everyone's like on the verge of a mental breakdown all the time. And like, I don't know, sometimes I meet people that just, they seem to have like a really level head on their shoulders, and even if they've got really important things to be doing and really stressful things that they're doing, they have this mentality of like, you know, you can only do so much, you get done what you can get done. Like, nothing's that fucking deep. Do you know what I mean? And I love those types of people because it's so easy to forget. And then sometimes you meet people and you're like, their mentality is just so refreshing. And you're like, oh, I feel like a fool because I'm over here having like an actual anxiety attack over the fact that like I called in sick to work one day, or I'm like slightly behind on this thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I get that sometimes at work too. Because somewhere that I work is like in hospitality, so you get like tickets on where people have ordered things and like drinks and food and stuff. And it's like that environment is fucking stressful. Like, don't get me wrong, I've like, hospitality is hard, but like there'll be so many tickets on and I'm like drowning in like things to make and things to do, and I'm like, oh my god, like, there's so much fucking to do. And like sometimes someone will come to you and they'll be like, take a deep breath, like no one's gonna fucking die if their chips are 5 minutes late. Do you know what I mean? Like, and someone will say something like, oh my god, you're right. Like, that's like a mini scenario of like when you're in the like bubble of hospitality, everything feels really fucking deep, and then you leave and you're like, it was just like someone's glass of wine. Do you know what I mean? Like, in, if you zoom out, it's not that fucking deep, but when you're in it, it's like, oh my god, there's like so much pressure and it's so stressful and fast paced, right? But then you zoom out and you're like, oh, it's silly. But it makes sense why it's stressful, but it's like inherently silly again. I feel like life is kind of the same thing when you're in it and you get so in like a bubble and like a mentality of like, you're in such a hurry and there's such like a urgency to everything, and you're never doing enough, and you're like, your fucking shoulders are up at everything again. And then sometimes you just need a little moment of someone reminding you or something like that, where you just zoom out a little bit and you just kind of put everything into perspective again, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm being so silly. I'm being so silly. And like, that's kind of the purpose of this episode, is just to like give everyone a little reminder that like, you're doing your best. There's only so much you can do. Life is not that deep. Like, enjoy yourself. That's not something to feel guilty for. You know, not every minute that you have should be like utilized for like maximum productivity all the time. Like, drop your shoulders and go and see your friends. Do you know what I mean? Like, go and see your friends. Have an early night. You know, watch that film that you've been wanting to watch, that you've thought, no, watching a film was a waste of time. There's so many other things I should be doing. Sit the fuck down and watch the film. That you're not in as much of a hurry as you think you are a lot of the time. You know, there's brief periods of life where there is pressure on it and there's like a deadline and you need to, you know, there's a sense of urgency for a reason, but there's a time and place for that kind of thing where there's actually a need for a rush. If you're living your life constantly, like in the state of like in a hurry, which I think is so easy for us all to do, then that's not healthy. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you've got an exam due next week, maybe that week you feel a bit more stressed and a bit more rushed. Fair. There's a reason for that, and there's a deadline, and once you've done it, it's over and you can go back to feeling normal. Do you know what I mean? That's different. But I think so many of us just are never not feeling in a rush and in a hurry. And like, I just find sometimes when I'm like, you know what, there's things I could be doing. Sure, all the time there's things I could be doing that, you know, would be somewhat productive. But sometimes you need to just not fucking do them. Sometimes you need to do something you enjoy and just have a nice day and not think about it and leave it for another day, because you need a balance. If the fact that we're all gonna die in the scheme of things, the near future, not to freak you out, if that fact doesn't make you kind of take things a little bit more lightly, it doesn't make you kind of let go of the stresses that you have over silly things. It doesn't let you just cut yourself some slack and like give yourself a break and just fucking chill out. If that doesn't do it, what will? Do you know what I mean? What else is gonna do that other than the mere fact that like you could put in all this work and all this effort, and I'm not saying don't put in effort to things, but you could put in all this work and effort towards something, you're still gonna die. Do you know what I mean? It's still like you're still gonna die. And genuinely, give yourself a fucking break. Enjoy your life. Do something that you want to do, you know? You know, stop feeling so bad for just having fun and relaxing and not having your life be based around work and productivity and efficiency. And if that's not for you, which I don't know that that's healthy. Again, long term, I don't know that that's healthy. Sometimes there's like periods where you have to kind of be like that. But like ongoingly feeling like that, it's just not good for you, you know? And it's not necessary, because I think you can just get shit done without stressing yourself to the max all the time. I think you can still do what you need to do half the time without making yourself feel like you are going to cry at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? I think it's good to remember that you are just one little person. You are just one little being who's on this floating rock. You don't know what's going on. You're trying your best. No one else knows what's happening. We're all we've created this kind of world and this system to keep us all sane. But at the end of the day, what the fuck is happening? Do you know what I mean? You're trying your best to keep up, really, with a very fast-paced and confusing and stressful world. And that's difficult. You need to stop being so hard on yourself and expecting yourself to get an insane amount of things done and be ridiculously productive when you only have so many hours in the day. You only have so much time. And do you really want to pour your like months or years of your life into pushing yourself constantly to get shit done all the fucking time and then die? Is this episode morbid as fuck? I don't know. But like, do you really want to do that to yourself? Because like, you don't deserve that. No one deserves to feel like that. We all deserve to enjoy our lives, to have fun, to relax, to switch off, to have good friendships and enjoy our relationships, and to maybe go on a holiday. And you don't have to spend money to, you know, it's not even about you have to go on holiday. Like, obviously that's a luxurious thing to do. And if you have the money and when you want to do that, then do it. But equally, if if you want to just sit in your garden and fucking chill out, or you want to have some friends over and make pizzas, or you want to have some wine with your boyfriend and just chat shit and not do any of your work sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like, fuck it. Honestly, treat yourself, do it. Life is not that deep. Do what you can, but don't drive yourself mental, you know, trying to keep up with something that you can't keep up with. The pace of the world, you cannot fucking keep up with it. You will drive yourself mad, I think, trying to keep up with, you know, feeling like you're doing enough. You will never feel like you're doing enough. No one knows what they're doing. And again, like I said, I think the smartest thing you can do, again, everything I say on this podcast is just like, take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I change my mind all the time. However, I think this one I will stand by is, I think one of the smartest things that you can do is put time and energy into just merely enjoying your life, doing things that you like, doing things that interest you, doing things that you find fun, spending time with people that you love. I think life is to be enjoyed. I think, to me, the purpose of life is to do what you want with it, to enjoy it, to have a nice time with it as much as you can. You know, I'm aware you can't always do that, but like, also a lot of it is your mentality and your perception. Like, you can make things fun if you like go a bit delusional and like romanticize everything. Sometimes I do that as a little tip. Just go mental and like pretend you're not at work when you're at work, and then you're not really at work, because perception is reality. I sound mental. But I don't know. I think life is there to be enjoyed. And I think I was catching myself in a moment recently where I was taking shit too seriously. I was taking everything so deeply, and I was stressing myself out, and I was sat on the beach and I felt like, oh my God, what am I doing? There's other stuff I should be doing. Like, I should go to work. I should pick up an extra shift right now. I should go and apply to new jobs. I should research what I should be doing with my life. And like, those are like, sometimes those things, yeah, sure, do them. But like, also, like, I was having a good time on the beach and I was enjoying my day, and that's important to do. It's important to enjoy your life. It's kind of why it's there. For me, I want to like squeeze out as much fun and enjoyment and good memories as I can from everything. I don't want to take everything really deeply, or I'm not going to enjoy my one fucking life that I have. I'm going to spend it in fight or flight mode. And I don't want to do that. And sometimes I go long periods of time doing that, and then I have these moments of like, I see a video on Instagram, or I speak to a friend, or someone says something, and I'm like, oh my God, you've just reminded me how silly everything is. What am I doing? I'm feeling so stressed and so anxious, and like, for what? Like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? For what? I don't know. This episode is just a little reminder that relax, let yourself enjoy your time and the people around you and your relationship with yourself, and, you know, treat yourself well, have a nice time, eat some good food, drink some nice wine, go on a pretty walk, watch the sunset, watch the sunrise, jump in the sea, you know, go on a weekend away, take yourself on a little drive, listen to some new albums, dye your hair, fuck it, like, just enjoy shit. Life is short. It's so silly to waste it stressed all the fucking time. Like, relax your body a bit, relax your mind a little bit, and go do something fucking fun. And I know none of this is easy, because like I said, we're all like, it's all drilled into our brains to like not relax and to like feel bad if we are. Not your fault that you feel like that, but like, I don't know, just a little reminder. Treat yourself, do it. That should not be a treat yourself, that should be a normal thing. That's not indulgent, that's a smart thing to do. Life's short, you should be enjoying it, as you should be lying on the beach, you know? Rewiring, guys. It's not easy, but it's definitely necessary. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you next week.